Hi, I'm Tony Bowen. Well, this is a recap on my family's trip to the N-Scale convention. Our trip this year was a little different because we took 3 days prior to a trip to Disney World to stop off for the N-Scale convention in Nashville, Tennessee. So we got up early on Thursday morning, June 16th, traveled all the way to Nashville, got stuck in southern Illinois in traffic for a while, but once we made it to the convention hotel, it was wonderful. Allowed time for my youngest daughter Claire and her boyfriend Alex to swim. My wife Jennifer and I were able to pick up a registration packet information that evening, and it also allowed us some time, since we had been in the car for almost 10 hours, to stretch our legs while we checked out some of the room sales, both posted on the board and using the app. Friday was a busy day for me. Started off with the model viewing where you could vote for models. There were some really neat models this year on display. I opted not to take anything. I took several models to Chicago, but since we were having this as a family vacation as well, I just didn't want to risk damaging those models that would be traveling around for the next 2 weeks while on a family vacation. So I opted not to take any models this year, but there were several beautiful models on display. The Swap-A-Rama Train Show opened right at 9 o'clock on Friday morning. This was a great chance for attendees to talk to modeling manufacturers. I had a chance to visit with Microtrains and see production samples of their PS2 hopper that's coming out in October, but also a great time to talk with a representative at Atlas about their FAs and seeing if the old lifelike chassis will fit on them, which they will, which is exciting. Also seeing new products like some scaled down N-scale couplers, and then seeing just some of the special runs that the N-scale enthusiasts have done over the years that were for sale. Some 3D printed grain elevators were really cool to see, and of course stopping off and visiting at Railsmith as they have some new products coming out for their passenger trains. One of the exciting things is their blunt-in observation car, and they also have a couple diners and sleepers that are coming out in the next year. And so if you're somebody like myself who's been building some of their passenger trains, you're probably good on coaches, you're probably good on sleepers, but what you need is maybe a different like duplex sleeper or diner for some of those passenger trains. After a quick lunch, it was time to board the bus for layout tours for the afternoon. The first stop actually had two layouts, a garden railroad that was on the outside, and then followed up by a Milwaukee Railroad Lionel Mike's Train House 027 layout inside the basement. And both layouts at our first stop were very well done. Beautiful layouts. The Garden Railroad had a beautiful little shed to do all the Garden Railroad repairs on locomotives and cars. And we finally moved from the outside Garden Railroad to inside and saw another beautifully done layout inside the basement. And this gentleman has also, right through that doorway, has added on in the last several years, excavated and extended his basement and house just so he could fit more railroad in there. And it was quite impressive. Beautiful workshop for his inside layout, and just all around, probably one of the neatest three rail layouts that I've seen. You don't have to do that. You're good. You're good.
I don't need to be in your home movies.
Oh, come on. Why not? The next layout we went to visit was the Shenandoah and Big Creek Railroad. This was an N-scale layout, and the one thing that I really appreciated was how in the South, where you don't have basements, you try to find other places to have a sizable layout. And in this case, this happened to be in the upstairs attic of a home, and how the guy utilized space to put his N-scale layout in. The last layout on our tour was an impressive HO layout of a Lehigh Valley Railroad. It started off in a garage with kind of a staging area for one part of the railroad and then went into the rest of the basement. I found out as we were given the tour and chance to look around that just a few days after we would have this tour that the gentleman would be tearing the whole layout down and moving his modeling to kind of an Illinois Central / Conrail era layout. And so there'll be a clip coming up where you can see he's already started kind of stockpiling his Illinois Central equipment, which I took photos of because, well, as a kid growing up, I saw a lot of Illinois Central and ICG locomotives and trains going by my house where I used to live as a kid growing up. So I appreciated it.
Am I live, Paul? Yeah, bring it on in.
The layout tour bus arrived back to the hotel shortly after 4 o'clock. Most of the convention attendees went on the General Jackson riverboat cruise. Having two young adults on our vacation, we knew that that wasn't probably going to be a good plan. And so we had planned in advance to go to Dave and Buster's so they could get out of the hotel room and also have some fun. Jennifer and I had never been to a Dave and Buster's, and we really enjoyed it. We had a good time. Saturday morning, we left the hotel room, Jennifer with her Mrs. Corn Country Rails shirt on, and we took in some of the layouts that were at the convention hotel. Friday had kept me so busy with the Swap-A-Rama and the layout tours that I hadn't had a chance to really take a close look at any of the layouts that were on display. And so this was a really neat time to see some of the layouts. I always like getting ideas of little vignette scenes that I can add to maybe my own permanent layout that I have at home.
supposed to be 48 by 25.
For part of our day, Jennifer and I were even greeters for the train show, which gave us opportunity to have lunch, sit down for a bit, and also visit with my friend Sean from Florida. And Sean, be looking in the mailbox in the next few weeks for that Corn Country Rails t-shirt. After being door greeters, we went back into the train show. Jennifer and I got a chance to hear Lowell Smith kind of discuss what it was like working with Disney to develop some of the cars. And I was also being a personal shopper for some of my N-Scale friends back in Iowa who sent me lists for items they were looking for. And so we were seeing what we could find before the train show closed up for the day. By Saturday night, it was time to get ready for the banquet dinner. So we left Claire and Alex in the hotel room with the Domino's pizza order being delivered. Jennifer and I got ready to attend the banquet, which was absolutely a great meal. They did the raffle ticket drawing, the kids drawing. They surprised everybody with the convention car, which was a Davy Crockett car, born in Tennessee. And then there was the closing remarks and hopefully seeing everybody at next year's N-Scale convention, which will be held in Reno, Nevada. And that's it. We had a great time on our trip.